Now, don't forget, of course, you're going to get live and exclusive coverage of the Man Derby tomorrow at 11 a.m. a part of Game Day. Let's look ahead to that now with a man that's played for both sides. The superstar that is Owen Hargreaves. Owen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
How are you, sir? You good? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I was, been a busy week, but looking forward to the game. Obviously, got a couple of big ones on the weekend, and it doesn't get much bigger than a Manchester derby, so should be a great one.
Yeah. Before we talk about the Man Derby, a question I think is much more important. Why are you not on WhatsApp? Me and Bentley can't understand why any adult isn't on WhatsApp. Why is that?
It was a long time ago, actually, and now I've gone. I literally get every second day somebody sends me the app to download.
Yeah.
Like we get the but actually not being on a lot of these group chats and all things, I think it sometimes is a benefit. But I've gone too long now. I almost can't go back, even though sometimes I should do, especially for work, because being on these groups and planning shows makes it a lot easier. But I did it ages ago.
Okay.
And I don't know why I haven't gone back, to be honest.
Okay, don't go back. Now you mentioned the group chat thing. You're so right. Don't go near it. Listen, we've got so much to talk to you about. Firstly, before you've played in a big game, not just the Man Derby, but maybe a German derby as well, does it feel different the night before, the day before going into it than it does perhaps any other match?
Yeah, it's definitely different. But I think when you play for like teams like Bayern Munich and Man United and stuff, every game is a must win. So they all kind of feel like derbies, but they're quite special. Obviously, I remember my first time playing against Liverpool at Anfield, and Sir Alex said to me, "Oh, and you've never played in a game like this in your life." And I was 26. I've been blessed to play in some Champions League finals and World Cups and stuff. And he said, "This is unlike any other game because of the emotion and because of the two teams and the way the game goes. So if you think you got two touch, you got one." And I remember looking over at him after about 20 minutes in the game, and the ball was never on the deck. The ball was just up in the air. It was back and forth, and it was a bit of like beautiful chaos. And it is, when you have a derby like that. I know it was Man United, Liverpool. There is an edge to it. I think the teams are a little bit friendly to each other than we used to play, but still, it's a special one.
And Owen, when you look at this one that's coming up tomorrow, of course, Manchester City versus Manchester United, a lot of people, of course, will make Manchester City the favourites just because they're the champions, the players that they've got, the Haalands, people like that. But is this game going to be a lot different than we've seen previously just because of the form that Manchester United are in?
I mean, you'd expect so. I think, first of all, Erik Ten Hag's he's done a good job of kind of changing the culture, making everybody accountable. They're still not the offensive force that I think that you're used to seeing in terms of goal scoring. They're way behind in terms of the top teams, but defensively they're much improved. And I remember I was literally behind. I was with some of the United staff at the Etihad, behind the United bench, and that was just unbelievable. Just the performance and the difference between the two sides. I just don't think anybody could have envisioned United could be now 4 points behind Manchester City. So they're in a good place for sure. They've had a winnable run of fixtures, and they've done a really good job of winning those. But obviously, it's a complete different test tomorrow. And obviously, with City losing, I'm not sure that's a good thing either, losing against Southampton. So I think they're in a good place, United. But you know how it is, Benty. When you come up against somebody like City, you hope for the best, but you're also fearful or wary of the fact of what could happen if they have a good day. And anybody with Bernardo Silva and Haaland and De Bruyne, if they get rolling, any team in the world's in trouble.
Let me ask you, we're in this very bizarre scenario because of the World Cup right in the middle of the season, where we're coming up to the middle of January now, and we're still, for most clubs, not even halfway through the Premier League season. If United were to win tomorrow, those 3 points puts them just 1 point behind Man City. They got Arsenal around the corner as well. I know it's a big if, but there's a reason I'm asking. If they were to beat Arsenal as well, would you say it's possible for Man United to be in with a shout of winning the Premier League this season or not?
Well, it's possible, but I mean, I think if Manchester United as a football club and the fans, if they could win a trophy and finish in the top four, I think that's a very good season. To say could they win the league, not scoring as many goals as the other top teams, probably not, based on the body of work so far. But they're in a great place, and they're the only team left in all four competitions. So it looks like they can win a trophy. Obviously they got the Europa League against Barcelona. That's tough, but they got favourable fixtures in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. So it feels like they're in a good place where they can go and win something. It's been the first time in a long time. So the league, I think, would be absolutely incredible. But I think finishing in the top four and winning a trophy, that'd be a great season. Because let's be honest, they're still in transition, and it's going to take a few years to catch up to what Man City and Liverpool have built.
100%. And what about the former Marcus Rashford, Owen? Because a lot of questions were asked about him, certainly last season, where he didn't seem like he was at his best. But it's almost like he's come back this season a completely different player, a little bit like the old Marcus Rashford. I mean, how good have you and how impressed have you been with him?
I love him. I just think he's such a fabulous player. I mean, if you could create an attacker, I mean, you think about Benton, you've played that position, obviously, played as a centre forward, but Marcus, with his size and his speed and his ability to finish and dribble, he can virtually, he's almost like a creation in a way as an attacker, because he can play on the right, play on the left, and play in the centre. But I think when you see Marcus play so great, you can see his confidence obviously took a huge hit. And because United were struggling too, and he had to carry that burden, that weight for a very long time. And I think it was a lot to ask for a young man, but I've been so impressed the way he's bounced back. And I think when Marcus does things quickly and makes quick decisions and does things, quite sharp, then he's almost unplayable. When you see Marcus sometimes struggle when he took too many touches and then he turned over possession and then he started to doubt himself. But when he's playing like this, I mean, he's up there with some of the best in the league.
We could see, of course, the addition of Wout Weghorst playing for Manchester United, be it starting. I don't know if Anthony Martial is going to be fit, and if he's not, maybe the Marcus Rashford you're alluding to there might start down the middle. But either way, we might see Wout Weghorst tomorrow. What do you make of him as a player, and what do you make of his addition to Manchester United squad?
Well, I mean, look, if you look at his goal scoring record outside of Burnley, it's pretty much 1 and 2, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The guy scores goals. I know it's probably not the sexiest signing in history, but the money's not there for Manchester United, and they needed a body through the door. Goal scoring has been one of the biggest issues. They're one of the lowest scoring teams in the top 10 teams. So hopefully he can address that. You look at the impact Olivier Giroud has for France. He's not that's not the most explosive guy in the world. It's not Thierry Henry, but he's there when they need it. They got enough creators. And then you think about Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno, and Marcus, and Anthony and Martial. They don't need him to do anything but just stand in the box and put the ball in the back of the net. So I think he'll get a few goals. I know he's not João Felix, but I think it's a body that they needed. And I think with the players they have creating, I think he'll get a few goals.
On the flip side, someone who has got plenty of goals is Erling Haaland. I'm sure you would have seen it a lot in the Bundesliga with what he did over there for Dortmund, and certainly he's come to the Premier League and he's, in some respects, making a mockery of the Premier League with his numbers that he's making. I mean, how impressed have you been with him? And also, what kind of role do you think he'll play in this derby? He's got a hat-trick in the first one, but at Old Trafford it's going to be different.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not love the kid? I mean, his ability is just off the charts, and it's amazing. It's slightly ignorant, actually. In this country, we look down on all the other leagues, but if you look at his body of work everywhere he's been, whether it's Norway, whether it's in the Norwegian league, and then he goes to Salzburg, and then he goes to Dortmund. Everywhere he scores, and he scores in these ridiculous numbers. So if he's going to have Pep, and he's going to have Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne and Mahrez and Phil and Jack Grealish and all these guys to create for him, of course he's going to score. But the thing that impresses me the most, I know he's a fantastic creation of a centre forward with his size and his ability, but his mindset, when he walks on the pitch, you can see in his eyes he just wants to run over everyone, and he doesn't over celebrate. He's just I think his mentality is as good as his ability, and I've been blown away that he doesn't look like he's content, Bente. He looks like he wants more every time, and that is such a priceless attribute to have for a young striker.
Yeah, I think he's overrated. Listen, that's so going to come back to haunt me, isn't it? I know that. Listen, while we've got you on drive, I have to discuss a certain Englishman playing in the Bundesliga, Jude Bellingham. I think we all think he's just, an absolute superstar in the making, if not already. Are we going to see him back in the Premier League, or see him in the Premier League soon? And if so, where do you think he'll end up?
Well, you'd love to see him here. I remember seeing him for the first time I think it was England under 21s. I think he was 17 in the game, and he played 3 different positions. And by the end of the game, he was telling everybody where to stand. And, I just couldn't believe, first of all, how he played, but I couldn't believe the way he stood out on the pitch and he conducted himself. Then I saw him in the Champions League against Man City, and over the 2 legs, he was the best player, basically, in both games. And that's saying a lot with all those superstars out there. And just the way he walked by us after the game, with and his presence is so rare for such a young player. And I'd love to see him over here. Whatever he costs, you could. It's not going to be too much, I think, because you can have him for that long. But I think the way that he played at the World Cup and that stage, I think maybe Barca and Real will be thinking that's our guy, because I think and he's one of the. I mean, we have a fabulous league, but often the best of the best end up going to Barca and Real, a bit like Ronaldo and Modric. And I just think if he wants to, he could walk into those starting 11s as well, and that's, you couldn't make a bigger compliment about Jude. So I think he won't pick the money side. I think he'll pick the project, and whoever gets him is going to get an absolute diamond.
Listen, you've been an absolute diamond. Before I let you go, as tradition with all our guests, that's a lie, I'm making this up, but I'm going to get you to just comment on all our discussion points from this afternoon's show with a yes or no. Is that all right, Owen? Okay, so we've been talking about Graham Potter and Chelsea. Will he be there at the end of the season?
Yes.
Okay, as manager?
Well, I'm not sure what else he's going to do.
Okay. We're talking about the Man Derby tomorrow. It's live on talkSPORT as well, by the way, gang. What will the score be?
How can you yes or no with that?
Will you tell me the score?
Yes.
Okay, what will that score be?
I think it's going to be 2-2.
Okay, sitting on the fence. I like it. How do you see the North London derby going the next day?
I mean, Arsenal blown me away. I just think they're going to continue that run, and I think Arsenal win the game 2-1.
Okay, last question. Will Arsenal win the Premier League?
I can't even believe we can even ask that question, honestly, but I don't think so. But they really look like I think a bit like Leicester. They didn't believe until it came, until late in the season, March, April. I think Arsenal, even they're starting to believe they can do it. Defensively, they've been absolutely unbelievable. So I think they can. I don't think they will, but I hope they get a body in to help them and go and win it, because that fan base has had to suffer for a long time, and I think it'd be great for the league if they were able to go and win that Premier League.
But you don't think they will?
I don't think they have enough depth. I just think if they're missing, if Rudiger gets injured or somebody gets injured, I don't think they have the depth. But I absolutely love, Saka, Martinelli, Rudiger. Yeah. I mean, the guys are so fun to watch. So I think it'd be a great story. I just don't think they have the depth. You look at what City and Liverpool, their benches. I mean, it's insane what the options they are.
Yeah. Okay, well, listen, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Who do you want to win, by the way, the Mac Derby tomorrow? I know you said 2-2. Who do you want to win?
I'm a neutral now. I just want.
I know we all are, right? Who do you want to win it, though, Owen?
No, but honestly, though, I just want to see a beautiful game of football. And you know what I want to see? I want to see two teams compete. When I saw United, the way they didn't really compete at the Etihad, that's not Man United. No. If you're going to go down swinging, so I think the way City played against Southampton, they won't play like that again. And I think United are up for it. So Old Trafford, I was there the other day. And the atmosphere is back and it's bouncing. So I think we're going to get a special one. And let's just see. Let's get a beautiful one.
If you had to choose, though, if you had to press a button, United or City, what button are you pressing, Owen?
Well, I spent 4 years at United, so I mean, there's a huge difference there. And United was the only club I was going to go to from Bayern Munich. Everybody came in for me, but that was the only one that held a special place in my heart. But Manchester City do a lot of things well, and everybody can look across and go, we should model ourselves on the way they do things. So. I learned a lot actually in my year there and seeing kind of players and culture outside. So, but United is.
I get it.
I have a soft spot for United.
I'm being cheeky. I push it. Listen, as a United fan, I love watching you in the red. So thank you so much for that on behalf of all other United fans as well. And more importantly, thank you so much for coming on talkSPORT on Drive and having a chat with me and Benny. We really, really appreciate it. It's very kind of you, Owen. Thank you so much.
Good job, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Our pleasure. There you go. The wonderful Owen Hargreaves. Good work, Benny, getting him.
Yeah, I'll see him tomorrow.
A couple of big names.
I'm with him tomorrow.
Oh, hold on. Who else are you with tomorrow? Can you get any more big names?
Nah, I think it's just me and Owen tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank him on behalf of all of us. That was great. That was good.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday.